Drivers like Mohammed Abu Shleiba bring the insanity of Fast and Furious to real life. In true Vin Diesel fashion, Abu Shleiba kicked off an 80-mile police chase in Austin, Texas, by stealing a Dodge Challenger Hellcat. If you're no car person, all you need to know is that the Hellcat lives up to its name with its speed and power. The chase kicked off and ran through 3 counties, Harris, Chambers, and Jefferson, in the span of an hour. How did he manage to keep the chase running for so long? The Hellcat can reach speeds all the way to 200 miles per hour, so yeah, police cruisers are a tad behind. When it came to speed and the chase itself, Abu Shleiba technically did beat the police, but he was probably going too fast, and with the police on his tail, forgot to stop at a gas station. After 80 miles, an hour, and 3 counties, he just goes down because of bad fuel consumption. Hey, they only got Al Capone on tax evasion, so life isn't as climactic as we like to imagine. Still, Abu Shleiba did try to ditch the car and leg it, but the police caught up to him in a cow pasture, and he simply couldn't run as fast as he could drive. Stealing a car is one thing, but it turned out Abu Shleiba had a whole basket of dirty laundry that got exposed, including sexual assault, theft, and carrying a prohibited weapon. Naturally, the judge refused any bond and sentenced him straight to prison for 3 years.
You are accused of evading arrest or detention in a vehicle, and you are a bond forfeiture on a misdemeanor offense of evading.
Stealing one vehicle for a chase is bad enough, but 3? Just take a look at Johnny Anchondo, who turned the streets of Orange County, California into his own personal twisted game of Grand Theft Auto. The streets witnessed a chase right out of a movie, including not 1, not 2, but 3 stolen vehicles, and it all started with a simple traffic stop that Johnny elected to ignore. Johnny started fleeing the police in a stolen car by stealing another car, of course. The chase got really heated when Johnny stole a refrigerated van from store driver John Reynolds, but the difference is Johnny Anchondo used it for actual personal vandalism instead of honest work, as he ran into cars and destroyed property. Just as you'd think he'd stop then, he showcases his rather impressive persistence and steals yet another car. In a purely absurdist method, he just breaks into a house, grabs the car keys, totally ignores the homeowner who went at him with a knife, and just takes his truck and drives off. We know this guy's a thief and all, but there's got to be some use of these undeniable skills, right? After an hour and a half, tons of damage, and the blood pressure of half the Orange County police force going through the roof, the climax came at a nearby gas station, where Anchondo rammed into another police car, setting it on fire. Now, the police usually reserve extreme methods for extreme cases, but Anchondo had reached his limit, which was enough for them to fire 16 shots right through the truck. Miraculously, Anchondo survived. Are we sure this guy isn't some sort of super criminal? This was it for Anchondo, though, as he was finally arrested and charged with carjacking and evading the police.
You're facing charges of carjacking, first-degree burglary.
Do you think that would be enough to have him snap out of whatever was going through his head? No, since he took his court hearing as a stand-up session and kept smiling and waving at the cameras. He probably won't be smiling for long, though, as he's facing 54 years of prison time. Some chases are dangerous yet harmless, but some really push the boundaries of crime. Such as Ryan Stone in Longmont, Colorado, who was less criminally competent and more condemnable for his complete disregard for human life. Ryan's crimes didn't stop at the level of just a police chase, as he first stole an SUV with a 4-year-old boy inside, essentially kidnapping him on the chase. Ryan took the boy on this ride of terror all the way to Denver, where he abandoned him in the SUV to find a more convenient car for him. Ironically, Stone wasn't much of a good driver, as he crashed the second car he stole near Denver Airport. And just as you thought he'd be done, he goes ahead and steals a third. Well, surely he can't crash a third car, right? Wrong. Some of these criminals don't have the most impressive IQ, after all. Before he stupidly crashed his third car, however, he managed to add one more victim to his reign of terror that day, striking a police officer and shattering his leg into 20 pieces. After an adrenaline-induced need for speed chase across Colorado, it fittingly ended in a foot chase with the cops when Stone was finally arrested. We're seeing a pattern with these hot rods, and ultimately getting put in their place outside of their cars. They probably should have invested as much time on the treadmill as they did in cars. To give you an idea of how detached from logic and reason some of these criminals are, Stone was actually proud of the coverage his chase got. Talk about an inflated ego, without any actual accomplishment.
Yeah, my lawyer told me I made the news in the UK and Australia.
His ego would be put in check, though, when he was charged with 11 felonies, including attempted manslaughter, assault, carjacking, and kidnapping, which were enough to give him well-deserved 160 years in prison, with the earliest parole in 2085, which is so far away that he'll either get his parole with robots or with Satan. Still, even the hardest of wills can be broken, as Stone got reduced to tears in court. Are they tears of regret for his actions, or fear of his punishment? We'll let you be the judge of that.
I pray you leave me time to start a family of my own.
A Dodge or an SUV on a chase is enough of a concern, but a lorry? That's actual terror. And the culprit is Ricardo Kostic in Youngstown, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, who gets the award for the biggest car to lead a chase with on our list. This case is relatively tamer than the others, with instant karma, where Kostic pretty much caught himself. It all started right in the heat of the scene, police asking Kostic to pull his truck over for erratic driving, and him refusing, and thus the chase ensued. Kostic led the police on for 11 miles into Pennsylvania, but thankfully there was pretty much zero damage on the road, so we can at least give it to Kostic for not being an abysmal driver, like the others on this list. But we shouldn't speak too soon, as Kostic pretty much ended the chase himself when he tipped the truck over onto the side of the road and crashed. Sometimes life sends some help, and the police definitely needed it. Kostic's arrest is actually the most intriguing part of the whole ordeal, and it introduces a mystery aspect. He didn't resist, nor did he run away, and shockingly begged the police not to hurt him. That's not all though, as all of a sudden Kostic yells out, "They just told me they were gonna kill me." Who exactly did he mean? Was it the police, or something else that caused him to drive so erratically in the first place? Unfortunately, that mystery will live on. Kostic's charges were honestly quite fair, for he was charged with fleeing police and had a bond set to $100,000. However, he also had some dirty laundry, including domestic battery and disorderly intoxication. So even if he hurt no one in the chase, who knows who he might have hurt if he hadn't been caught. Kostic isn't the only one who went quietly. He's joined by Juan Rivers and Tyler Hunt in South Florida, who, like Kostic, get an ironic prize for not causing any damage on the road, but being reckless enough to also have themselves arrested. Rivers and Hunt led a police chopper on a wild chase in a stolen Dodge Charger, going up and down the freeway with the chopper on its tail. There was no violent chase, no shots fired, no crashes, but the threat was still looming all over the freeway. Rivers and Hunt were definitely pushing the Charger to its limit, and thinking that they were straight out of Forza, they blew the front tire because of their ridiculously irresponsible speed. They pretty much shot themselves in the foot with that tire though, as they waved the white flag and waited for the police to come and arrest them. Without much of an update of their fate behind bars, Rivers, the driver, was charged with grand theft auto and driving without a license.
You are here before the court on count 1, grand theft auto. Count 2 is operating a vehicle without a valid driver's license, and I do find that there is probable cause.